Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. My name is Desiree. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. So today's video is out the gate a little bit different than I'm used to. I am wanting to try out doing voiceovers and also sharing in real time my process. And I feel like this is a time where things are so fast and crazy and clickbaity that sometimes we just need to calm down and pause and watch something that's a little bit more slow paced, that is not rushed. And I mean, on the other side of doing that as an editor for videos, it's a lot easier. So I want to be more consistent. I say that all the time with YouTube. I go back and forth, but honestly, I do want to be more consistent with creating my videos and putting content out there. And a lot of things have changed in my life this year. 2025 has been transformational in so many ways, and I want to be able to express that more, and I want to try doing it in a different way than just sitting and talking. I am still painting. I'm still doing my art business, Decalise Art Studio. And I was shying away, honestly, from showing people my process because it was so, and it still is, so sacred to me. And there are times when I'm creating and I don't have an idea of where things are going to go, what I'm going to do next. But as I am learning and creating and trying out new styles and finding out where my new art style is, I am getting more comfortable with what I'm doing. And so I think that allows me to have that space in the room to just continue to create, make mistakes, not be so concerned about angles, for the for the computer, for for the camera, and I can have moments to zone out. So instead of trying to figure out like, okay, am I going to show this angle? Am I going to say this? Am I going to say that? I can just create, set the camera up, create in whatever time of day, as long as it takes me, and not feel like I have to rush to minimize it all into a 10-second reel or a 30-second short. So today's video is quite long. This is the longest video I have ever posted, but as much as I was like, let me just go ahead and delete all this and start over, there was another part of me was like, no, we've done all this recording. Let's go ahead and put it out there and see what happens. And maybe this can be my new style that works for me, that's realistic for where I am in life, and also enjoyable for you as well to watch. So I am working on this new collection called The Soul Loved, and it is inspired by John 3:16. At first, when I came across these hearts in Michael's, I was like, I could do something with this. I was thinking maybe doing ornaments or saving them for Valentine's, but then I was like, no, let's just go ahead and do something fun and we'll figure it out along the way. When I first created these hearts, I literally had no idea. Like I said, I had no idea what I was going to do with them, but I knew I wanted to do something with them. And I had gone back and forth about it for a few days before I actually did sit down and paint. And it was on a Sunday afternoon, I believe it was, or a Saturday. It was on the weekend. And I came into my studio and I sat on the floor. I have a drop cloth on the floor where sometimes I paint, or I'll have it, just to protect the floor, the carpet, from getting paint on it. And so I sat down there and I pulled out all these different colors and I squirted them out. I didn't even get a palette. I didn't even get a palette or a plate. I just squirted the paint directly on the drop cloth and went to town. Picked out some brushes and went to town. I don't think I was listening to anything. It's as if I was guided into the room, and it was like God was like, okay, this is the time. This is the time. And I sat there on the ground, crisscross applesauce, and and just started painting and doing similar to how you're seeing here with these blocks. And then the next thing you know, I had these hearts, and the design was so playful and fun and funky and eclectic. And I had all these cute little markings on them, and I just felt so proud and so like, yeah, this is definitely it. This is definitely it. So it was such a profound moment for me because for a few weeks I had been feeling creative block and knowing that I wanted to create things, and I was creating things here and there, like little things, and running back and forth with all of these different ideas. But I just never felt like anything really stuck. I, again, had that analysis paralysis, and it was so annoying, you guys, so annoying. So when I was able to sit down and have this playtime, essentially that's what it was, just play with these hearts. I it Something beautiful came out, and I was so excited about it. I was telling someone today that I realized that whenever I am focused on creating something for sale, to sell, whenever I'm creating something to sell, I typically have a hard time. I have a hard time creating. But then when I'm just doing it just to do it, just for fun, I feel like my best work comes out at that point. And I want to practice more of that, get into that mindset of not everything has to be for sale. When we're painting, it could be for fun, it could be therapeutic, it could just be to be, relaxed. It could be something simple to do where your mind can go and where you can tap in with the Lord. And, sometimes it is hard for us to hear from God, and we're like, I'm praying, I'm not hearing anything. And sometimes you're not hearing anything because you are talking so much, and you're not okay with silence, and you're not okay with slowing down, and you're not okay with just waiting. You don't have the patience to allow him to reveal these things to you. Sometimes the things that he is trying to reveal to you or answer you or tell you, it's so subtle, and we get to a point where it's so subtle that we don't recognize it, and then something big and drastic happens, and you're like, gosh, I wish you didn't have to take all that. Like, did you have to do all that? And sometimes I think God's like, well, yeah, because you weren't listening to the subtle nudges, you weren't paying attention to the subtle signs that I was showing you. I was trying to whisper it to you, but apparently you needed it to be very loud and life changing and kind of like an earthquake to your life, um, in order for you to get what I'm trying to tell you, in order for you to move or make the changes or do differently or to do better. You have to have something loud and big and grandiose. And honestly, I don't like that because sometimes the big and grandiose can be so devastating and can cause such a earth-shattering thing, can happen that makes you finally get the point. And I don't want for God to always have to do something big and life-changing in order for me to get the point, to make the change, to go down a path or to see where I'm making mistakes or where I could do better. I don't want that to always have to be the case. And so slowing down, having the time to do this art, to create, it's nice. While I was editing this video, I did pop over to my community section here on YouTube and did a poll to see if anyone had a preference on whether I should continue the video with silence, the moments where I don't have any speaking parts, if it should be just silent, or if I should have some music playing in the background. And all of the votes that came in at that time were for it to be silent ASMR style. So I think that's beautiful, in honor of slowing down, in honor of embracing silence so that you can hear your head think, hear from the Lord, just be in honor of embracing playtime. I hope that you will take the moment to slow down, work alongside me, create your own painting alongside me, do your own tasks alongside me, whatever. Have me in the background. Let's just pretend that we are hanging out together. It's a slow day. We are taking our time doing what we need to do, and we are allowing the silence to be there and just hearing the sounds of what we're working on, and enjoy the time. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Alrighty. So I have gone back in and repainted the orange. That green, it just wasn't working for me. So I went in and redid these. They're all nice and dry. Here's another one. You can still kind of see it there, but it's okay. I think this will be a better look anyway, for allowing this to be the conversation piece and not so much the background, because these are some funky colors to put together, but they work. They're funky, but they work. So I need to paint the sides. I think I'm gonna sand this down to get this color out, and just paint the other sides. I need to sand this first. But these are done. This group is ready. And I've painted the sides. I just need to add varnish to the sides. Here's another one. Sides are done. And here's another one. This has a little bit more texture because the gesso under there, I had to sand it to buff it out. I kind of actually like the more texture. This one, they were more soft, smooth, and this is the texture. But yeah, it's all painted on the sides. I don't know if I should paint the backs. I probably will, or at least maybe sand out the color. I don't know. Or maybe like paint white, because if you do put this up on a wall, you don't want the color to like rub off. But this also gives you that this was handmade feel. So yeah, I don't know. So the next thing I need to do is put some glue on the back of here and adhere these. I have these also. There are a little bit, well, actually, this is not what's going on there. Which ones are going on there? These are going on there. The more basic ones, because I have gold here and there's gold on these. You see that? There you go. Whereas these have a rose gold color. So I am going to get more blocks, but I'm not going to paint the backs. I'm going to leave them plain white, and I'm going to save those for these because these are a little bit more intricate with the design and the dots and whatnot than these are. So I just feel like it'd be too much going on. I think these would look better with a white background. So yeah, let's get to gluing. I think I have 1, 2. All right, so I have 4 that are gold and I have 3, but I'm just going to use 3, and then the rest here on out will just be white, just so I can have a variety. So I think these three. Plus this one is a little bit more busier. So I don't know. You might be like, the girl, they all look busy. So I'm going to glue these down, and then I need to tape them down also. That's what I did with this one, so that it stays flush as much as possible. And this one, I did the gold after the fact, but with these, I was smarter because that was my test. That was my test run. These, I went ahead and put the gold around the edges ahead of time, so they're good to go. Okay, so this is what I'm using, Gem Tack permanent glue. It is for gemstones, rhinestones, pearls, glitter, and more. And when they say more, I mean more. I got this as on a whim at Joann Fabrics when they were closing. It was super cheap. So I was like, well, it's super cheap. Let's just give it a try. And I used it for this project I'll put up. I used it on that project and it worked really, really well. And it holds so, so good. So with my practice set, I did one where I brushed the glue on, and it was not as it didn't stay flat. It didn't adhere, I think, as well. So, oh man, this is not coming out easy. It dries really fast. I think there was still some gunk in here. Here we are. Adding the glue. Alright, so I'm gonna put it in this one. I'm just really eyeballing it. Because I want to make space for more gems to come around here. So that's doing good. And I'm going to take some of this frog tape and tape down. Take this down, secure it. Take this side down. It doesn't seem like it would help, but it worked for the other one. So I'm like, I'm going to just roll with it. And whatever I did on my tester is what I'm going to do with this. And I'm so glad that I did a tester instead of doing a whole bunch one way. And that's like one way to help with my nervousness of like making sure that it's perfect. So there's a little bit of white there, but it's going to dry clear, so it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and speed up and work on these other two. So actually, I'm going to chit chat a little bit. I don't know what I've already said in this video, but I just had grief counseling today, and it was very helpful. I started grief counseling back in, I want to say March, maybe like April. I think it was more like April is when I had my first session. We have been able to get grief counseling because my mom was on hospice, and we used Empath Health. They were awesome. They were one of those little miracles that I look back and talk about. While my mom was on hospice, we were assigned a social worker, and she not only helped with answering questions about the process, and filling out paperwork to prepare for my mom's death and afterwards, but she also did family and individual counseling with us during the time, just to kind of like prepare us and help us to get on the same page when it comes to what my mom needed, the support, divvying out responsibilities to help manage caregiver burnout, having hard conversations. We even did a family session right here in this room with my mom in her hospital bed. And it was open to anyone in the family. So it didn't have to be just us kids and my dad. It was also, you see that? Boop. It was also in-laws, my mom's siblings, my grandmother. Like, that was her first experience with a therapist. So that was really cool to be a part of. And like I said, it just helped us to get and stay on the same page. The main focus was whatever my mom wants. Whatever you want, whatever she wants in her final days is pretty much like your wish is our command. And I won't lie, at times that was difficult because it was like, but what about me? What about how I'm feeling? What about my needs? And sometimes, our needs were addressed, but at that time it was like there was no room to be like selfish or it'll be about, what you want. Like, it had to be about what was best for her. And just so that she can transition in peace and with dignity. So after my mom passed away, then we had a social worker, maybe about another, I don't know. We had her for a little bit. I'll just say that. I'm always trying to quantify time and space. We had her for a little bit, and then she transitioned us out to certified grief counselors. And I've had that grief counselor since, I think, April. And I just got switched over to a new one because of some for whatever reason. I had to get switched to a new one, but I've had today was my second session with the new person, and they're awesome. So now all of these 3 are done, and I could go ahead and not wait until they're dry and add on the pearls, but I almost feel like I don't need to. I'll go ahead and tape it down. All right, so we'll let these settle. I like painting on top of a canvas. Why? Because it's like its own palette, and it keeps my painted surface cleaner, and I like it being black because it adds some contrast. It adds some contrast. I want to use a thicker brush. Got this flat head. Just gonna mix that together and add that in here. All right. So yeah, so let's continue what I was saying. So we did the grief counts. I've been doing grief counseling since April. We're now in November. They give you 13 months of counseling, and I am so thankful because it's been a hot minute since I've been in counseling, and two, this is my first time experiencing such a profound death in my life. I have lost, family members before, but it's not like losing a parent or somebody who is a caregiver, like a primary caregiver for you. It's just different. It's just different. That's all I can say. It's just different. So I'm really grateful that we were able to have hospice here at the house, and also have access to counseling during the hospice experience and after. I highly recommend it. I almost corrected myself. What I want to say is, if you ever get a chance to use hospice, I hope you would never have to, because of the reasons why you end up having someone on hospice, why hospice is needing. But if you ever find yourself in that situation, I recommend, and they offer you counseling or therapy, I highly recommend that you take advantage of it. And if you are shopping around, trying to figure out who to get on with, ask them about that service. Do you offer counseling for the family? And if so, how much? And what does that look like? How long? Those types of questions. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my pack of sandpaper. This is what it looks like. I already got some paint on it, and then I shut the camera. I'm going to just fold this in half. I don't want to get grains in that, so I just want to show you. I'm just going to sand it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I got it out. And I'm going to continue painting. So as I was saying, yes, ask them if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're shopping around for hospice and you don't, ask about that. Do they offer counseling? And if so, how much, how long, whatever. You may feel like you don't really need it in the moment. We just need to pick somebody. Of course, make sure that they are... Maybe this needs to be a different video. I don't know, you guys. I'm just going with the flow right now. Yeah, you want to make sure, do they offer 24-hour care when it's, getting close to the end? That is something I do wish that we did have. I feel like it would have taken a little bit of stress off. But for us, for us, they said they didn't offer it because her passing, she didn't have any crazy, her transition was pretty peaceful, and she wasn't vomiting, or she didn't have a violent death. Or some people, they're, combative, they are vomiting, they get it's just really bad. And my mom didn't have any of those symptoms, so it was for them it was manageable for us to take care of at home. Which I did tell the social worker, I was like, I feel some type of way, because Girl, that was a lot. That was intense. For somebody who has never done this before, Nina, that was intense. Okay, so yeah, it was intense. It was intense. I don't recommend doing. I hope I don't have to go through that again. But if I do, at least I know I have more experience. Not reading a book experience. I have firsthand experience, so it would help. It would have helped before, but all right. Okay, guys. So here we are. Painted on all sides. And what I like about this being abstracty is that it doesn't have to be the same color. I like that it's like a little bit of a gradient. So I'm going to let these dry. Brush this off. A little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and add varnish to these. I don't know. I am feeling kind of similar to, what's that girl's name? Her name is Katie Canvases, and I love watching her videos because she does do a lot of a lot of them she does voiceovers for, and it does make it entertaining because you're like looking and seeing, and she's explaining to you what she's doing but not really giving you a tutorial. It's like a tutorial, but it's not. It's just like, this is my process, this is how I'm doing it. And she's having like these random conversations and stuff like that. I do admire that, and I do want to do something like that. All right, so this is nice and varnished. Let me show you. And then I will, once I feel satisfied that these are dry, maybe like later tonight, I will do the sides. That's that. All right, so I am so happy to share that we got a new painting order. Woo! My cousin-in-law ordered a painting from me, and this one I have had since 2022. I had taken it off of my website and then put it back up. I believe this year I put it back up. And so it's this one. It's called New Beginnings #2. There were 3 of these. One has already sold. This is the second one, and I feel like I might have the third one here somewhere. So if I find it, I'll definitely upload it. But it is a mix of acrylic ink in here. It is all acrylic ink in the background. And then you can see the texture of acrylic paint on top. And then it's on a panel. The sides are painted black. And then I have it adhered onto this mat board, and then it's in this frame, and then I put my sticker in the back of the frame. So this was one of my favorites, honestly, this little collection, and I'm glad that it has found its new home. So we're gonna pack that up. I also had a print order. I will show you the print. So Josue, if you watch this, thank you so much for your order. And then I have these 8x10s. I had the 5x7 in a picture for my print of the month club as an example. And my friend Christina, she wanted a 5x7 if I had any more left, but I didn't. But I did have the 8x10s left. So she ordered 2 of these, and I think I have, let's see, how many of these do I have left? I think I only have 3. I have 3 of these left. So once this sells out, I'm not making any more. I don't think that I have ever reordered any prints, because real talk, the demand has not always been there. So once I order a few, once it's gone, it's gone. Like, I don't have a purpose to reorder them. And so this is an 8x10. And if you were to put it in a frame, like, let's just use this one as an example, put it on a frame, like, it looks really nice frame. And then I also have a couple more 8x10s. I have this one, 8x10, and it's not like flimsy paper. It's like really, like, look at that. It's stiff and it's good quality. The colors are vibrant and the meaning is awesome. The meanings are awesome. So I do actually plan on bringing out monthly 8x10. So instead of doing the 5x7s that are double-sided, let's pull one. I think this was November. Yeah, this was November. An Everlasting Love. Look how real that looks, like it's jumping off. So pretty. And that has Jeremiah 31:3 on it. An Everlasting Love. The next one I have is Bloom with Grace. And that is inspired by Jeremiah 17, verse 7 through 8. And that's on the back. This is from my Hadassah's Girls, some digital art that I did. So that one is Deuteronomy 31:6. And then this one is Proverbs 31:25. This one, blessed with peace, love, and oh so much joy. And then this one in the back, Isaiah 9:6. His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And I like how, like, shimmery this one is. So because for the holidays, I'm like, let's go with a little shimmer. Enough chit-chatting. Let's pack up this painting.